Sarnia is a city in southwestern Ontario, Canada, and had a 2011 population of 72,366. It is the largest city on Lake Huron and in Lambton County. Sarnia is located on the eastern bank of the junction between the upper and lower Great Lakes, where Lake Huron flows into the St.Clair River, which forms the Canada-United States border, directly across from Port Huron, Michigan. The city's natural harbor first attracted the French explorer La Salle, who named the site the Rapids when he had horses and men pull his 45-ton bark Le Griffon up the almost 4-knot current of the St.Clair River on the 23rd of August 1679. This was the first time anything other than a canoe or other oar-powered vessel had sailed into Lake Huron, and La Salle's voyage was thus germinal in the development of commercial shipping on the Great Lakes. Located in the natural harbor, the Sarnia port remains an important center for lake freighters and ocean-going ships carrying cargoes of grain and petroleum products. The natural port and the salt caverns that exist in the surrounding areas, together with the oil discovered in nearby oil springs in 1858, led to the massive growth of the petroleum industry in this area. Because Oil Springs was the first place in Canada and North America to drill commercially for oil, the knowledge that was acquired there led to oil drillers from Sarnia traveling the world teaching other nations how to drill for oil. The complex of refining and chemical companies is called Chemical Valley and located south of downtown Sarnia. The city has the highest level of particulates air pollution of any Canadian city because of its reliance on the petrochemical industry. About 60% of the particulate matter, however, comes from the neighboring United States. Lake Huron is cooler than the air in summer and warmer than the air in winter. Therefore, it moderates Sarnia's humid continental climate, which makes temperature extremes of hot and cold very rare. In the winter, Sarnia experiences lake-effect snow because Arctic air blows across the warmer waters of Lake Huron and condenses to form snow squalls once over land. Culturally, Sarnia is a large part of the artistic presence in southern Ontario. The city's International Symphony Orchestra is renowned in the area and has won the Outstanding Community Orchestra Award given by the Detroit Music Awards in 2011. Michael Learned graced the stage of the Imperial Theatre for a 2010 production of Driving Miss Daisy. The largest event that happens in Sarnia is Sarnia Bayfest, which is a popular music festival that takes place during the summer. In 2013, organizers cancelled the event because of money troubles but look forward in 2015 to combining with the International Powerboat Festival and presenting a joint event. Name. The name Sarnia is Latin for Guernsey, which is a British Channel island. In 1829, Sir John Colborne, a former governor of Guernsey, was appointed Lieutenant Governor of Upper Canada. In this capacity, he visited two small settlements in 1835 that had been laid out on the shores of Lake Huron. One of these, named the Rapids, consisted then of 44 taxpayers, 9 frame houses, 4 log houses, 2 brick dwellings, 2 taverns and 3 stores. The villages wished to change its name but were unable to agree on an alternative. The English settlers favored the name Buenos Aires and the Scottish New Glasgow. Sir John Colborne suggested Port Sarnia. On the 4th of January 1836, the name was formally adopted by a vote of 26 to 16, and Colborne also named the nearby village Moore after British military hero Sir John Moore. Sarnia adopted the nickname, the Imperial City, on the 7th of May 1914 because of the visit of Canada's Governor-General H.R.H. the Duke of Connaught, and his daughter Princess Patricia. History. First Nations peoples have lived, hunted, and traveled across the area for at least 10,000 years, as shown by archaeological evidence on Walpole Island. These peoples were drawn from an amalgamation of Ojibwa, Odawa, and Potawatomi clans, which formed the Three Fires Confederacy, also called the Council of Three Fires, in A.D. 796. These clans came together through common links in both language and culture, developing a self-sufficient society where tasks and responsibilities were equally shared among all members. During the 1600s and 1700s, the Three Fires Confederacy controlled much of the area known as the Hub of the Great Lakes, which included the Canadian shore where Sarnia is now located. During this time, it maintained relations with many of the First Nations, including Huron, Sioux, and Iroquois, as well as the countries of Great Britain and France. In fact, their trading partners, the Huron, welcomed La Salle and the Griffon in 1679 after he sailed into Lake Huron. The Ontario Heritage Trust erected a sign under the Blue Water Bridge in commemoration of the voyage, as shown by the photo of the sign. Because of this beginning of the incursion of Europeans into the area, the members of the Confederacy helped shape the development of North America throughout the 18th century, becoming a center of trade and culture. Great Britain supported the strengthening of the tribes in the area as a set of allies against the French and the Iroquois. The people of the Three Fires Confederacy, however, sided with the French during the 7 Years' War and only made peace with Great Britain after the Treaty of Fort Niagara in 1764. It also fought on the side of the British during the War of 1812. The Three Fires Confederacy also broke several treaties with the United States prior to 1815, but finally signed the Treaty of Springwells in September of that year and ceased all hostilities directed at the United States. The Grand Council survived intact until the middle to late 19th century, when more modern political systems began to evolve. After the War of 1812, the first Europeans in the area were French settlers loyal to the British Crown who moved north from Detroit. They successfully traded with the Three Fires Confederacy, which contributed to the growth of the area. After its foundation, Port Sarnia expanded throughout the 19th century. On the 19th of June 1856, the residents passed the Act to incorporate the town of Sarnia, and the name Port Sarnia was officially changed to Sarnia effective the 1st of January 1857. The Act mentioned 1,000 inhabitants in 3 wards, the wealth of adjoining stands of timber, the discovery of oil in nearby oil springs in 1858 by James Miller Williams, and the arrival of the Great Western Railway in 1858 and the Grand Trunk Railway in 1859 all stimulated Sarnia's growth. The rail lines were later linked directly to the United States by the opening of the St. Clair Tunnel under the St.Clair River at Sarnia in 1890, by the Trunk Railway, which was the first railroad tunnel ever constructed under a river. The tunnel was an engineering marvel in its day, achieved through the development of original techniques for excavating in a compressed air environment. Canada Steamship Lines formed in 1913 from many previous companies that plied the waters of the St. Clair River. One of these companies was Northwest Transportation Company of Sarnia, which was founded in 1870. By the 20th of April 1914, when the residents passed Act to incorporate the city of Sarnia, the population had grown to 10,985 in 6 wards. Sarnia officially became a city as of the 7th of May 1914. Sarnia's grain elevator, which is the 6th largest currently operating in Canada, was built after the dredging of Sarnia Harbour in 1927. 2 short years later, grain shipments had become an important part of Sarnia's economy. The grain elevator rises above the harbour, and next to it is the slip for the numerous bulk carriers and other ships that are part of the shipping industry that includes vessels from all over the world. The waterway between Detroit and Sarnia is one of the world's busiest, as indicated by the average of 78,943,900 tons of shipping that annually traveled the river going in both directions during the period 1993 to 2002. Lake freighters and ocean-going ships, which are known as salties, pass up and down the river at the rate of about 1 every 7 minutes during the shipping season. During this same period, the Paul M. Tellier Tunnel, which was named after the retired president of CN in 2004, was bored and began operation in 1995. It accommodates double-stacked rail cars and is located next to the original tunnel, which has been sealed. While there had been a petroleum industry in the Sarnia area since 1858, the establishment of Polymer Corporation in 1942 to manufacture synthetic rubber during World War II was a great success and began Sarnia's rise as a major petrochemical center. Because of Sarnia's importance in this industry, it appeared on a United States government list of possible Soviet targets as part of its anti-energy nuclear strike strategy during the Cold War. On the 1st of January 1991, Sarnia and the neighboring town of Clearwater were amalgamated as the new city of Sarnia-Clearwater. The amalgamation was originally slated to include the village of Point Edward, although that village's residents resisted and were eventually permitted to remain independent of the city. On the 1st of January 1992, the city reverted to the name Sarnia. Sarnia's population experienced a continual growth from 1961 to 1991, with a 1991 population of 74,376. In 2001 the population had declined by approximately 3,000. Since 2001 Sarnia's population has been growing, slowly, with a 2011 population count of 72,366. Despite these modest gains, an April 2010 report, Sarnia Lambton's labor market, states, large petrochemical companies are the community's main economic drivers. Over the recent past, several plants have shut down, and of those still in operation, increased automation and outsourcing has led to significantly fewer workers. These shutdowns and the resulting loss of jobs, and therefore population as workers search for employment elsewhere, will contribute to a general decline shown by one August 2011 study, which shows that the population will decline by 17% over the next 25 years. The Monteith-Brown study cited outlines a plan for restructuring the city based on hybrid zoning areas, which will bring work opportunities closer to the neighborhoods where people live. The city of Sarnia and Lambton County are also implementing an economic development plan with an emphasis on bioindustries and renewable energy. Geography. Sarnia is located on the eastern shore of Lake Huron at its extreme southern point where it flows into the St.Clair River. Most of the surrounding area is flat, and the elevation ranges from 169 meters and 281 meters above sea level. The soil mostly comprises clay. Despite this high percentage of clay, the soil is remarkably rich for cultivation. Prior to the Ice Age, glaciers covered most of the area, as can be seen not only by the existence of the Great Lakes themselves but also of alluvial sand deposits, terminal moraines, and rich oil reserves. The entire area was submerged and plant and animal matter formed many layers of sediment as they settled after after the waters receded. Sarnia is not part of the Canadian Shield and is located just beyond its southernmost reaches, 290 kilometers west of Toronto and 106 kilometers north of Detroit. Neighborhoods: Wiltshire Park, Woodland, Oak Acres, Wees Beach, Oakwood Corners, Woodrow Shores, and Blackwell are part of the north end of Sarnia, which begins immediately north of Ontario Highway 402 and terminates at the shore of Lake Huron. Coronation Park, Heritage Park, College Park, the Tree Streets, and Sherwood Village are some of the neighborhoods south of the highway. The village of Blue Water was built to house workers and the families in Chemical Valley during the construction of Polymer Corporation, and at one point had nearly 3,000 residents. In 1961, all the residents were relocated, mostly to the north end, to make way for expansion of the chemical industry. The village was demolished, and all that remains now is an historical marker at the corner of Vidal Street and Huron Avenue. This neighborhood was largely forgotten until historian Lorraine Williams penned 2 books about it and was instrumental in the dedication of the plaque. Climate: Sarnia has a humid continental climate. Winters are cold with a few short-lasting Arctic air masses that dip far enough south and bring with them daily high temperatures lower than -10 degrees Celsius. Sarnia, while not quite located in the Southwestern Ontario snowbelt, sometimes receives large quantities of lake-effect snow. Sarnia averages 112.0 centimeters of snow per year, while London averages 194.3 centimeters. The lake creates a seasonal lag, and compared to the rest of Canada and inland Ontario, Sarnia has a noticeably longer warm period following summer. However, cooler temperatures tend to prevail for longer after winter. Lake Huron can also create large temperature differences within the city in spring and early summer, particularly on hot days in late May, early June. Finally, extreme temperatures, particularly lows, are rarely ever seen. Daily lows less than -10 degrees Celsius are seen an average of 30 days a year, and less than -20 degrees Celsius 2 days a year. Summers are warm to hot and usually humid. Humidex readings can be very high at times from late May to late September. In fact, Sarnia has the second greatest number of high humidex days at or above 35 degrees Celsius and humidex days at or above 30 degrees Celsius in Canada, both after Windsor, Ontario. Thunderstorms can become quite severe from April to September. Destructive weather is very rare in the area but has occurred, such as the tornado event of 1953. Demographics. In the 2011 census, the city of Sarnia had a population of 72,366, an increase of 1.3% from the 2006 census. With a land area of 164.71 square kilometers, it had a population density of 439.354 per square kilometers in 2011. In 2011, Sarnia had an overwhelmingly white population. Only 8.54% were visible minorities. Of those, 63.77% were Aboriginal, representing the largest group. In 2011, 89.31% of Sarnians called English the mother tongue, 2.46% listed French, 0.87% stated both of those languages, and 7.37% said another language was the mother tongue. The median age in Sarnia is 44.5, which is older than the Canadian median of 40.95, indicative of Sarnia's aging population. According to the 2011 census, Sarnia is predominantly Christian, as 28.46% of the population were Catholic, 12.4% were members of the United Church of Canada, 7.3% were Anglican, and 20.0% 28.06% were of other Christian faiths, Muslim or Jewish. 28.38% professed no religious preference who were atheists. The median income counting all persons 15 years old or older in Sarnia in 2010 was $29,196, while median family income was $76,523, both of which were slightly lower than Ontario's at $30,526 and $80,987, respectively. The cost of living in Sarnia, however, is significantly lower than it is in Ontario as a whole. The median value of a dwelling, for instance, is $179,266, compared to the $300,862 of Ontario as a whole. Economy and infrastructure. The Sarnia-Lambton Workforce Development Board states in its March 2011 labor market report that, even though employment in both the petrochemical and agricultural industries has declined significantly in recent years, these two industries remain central drivers of the Sarnia-Lambton economy. When World War II threatened tropical sources of natural latex for rubber, Sarnia was selected as the site to spearhead development of synthetic petroleum-based rubbers for war materials, and Polymer Corporation was built by Dow Chemical at the request of the Government of Canada. Large pipelines bring Alberta oil to Sarnia, where oil refining and petrochemical production have become mainstays of the city's economy. Shell Canada, Imperial Oil, and Suncor Energy operate refineries in Sarnia. Large salt beds found under the city became a source of chlorine and other significant ingredients which contributed to the success of Chemical the Valley. Chemical companies operating in Sarnia include Nova Chemicals, Bayer, Cabot Corporation and Ethel Corporation. Dow ceased operations at its Sarnia site in 2009. The plant was decommissioned, and the land has been sold to neighboring TransAlta Energy Corporation. TransAlta produces power and steam for industry, and is the largest natural gas cogeneration plant in Canada. It has created the Blue Water Energy Park on the former Dow site. Lanxess produces more than 150,000 tons of butyl rubber annually at its Sarnia location, and is the sole producer of regulatory-approved, food-grade butyl rubber, used in the manufacture of chewing gum. Within the boundaries of its Sarnia plant, Lanxess has also created the Bio-Industrial Park Sarnia. Chemical Valley and the surrounding area are home to 62 facilities and refineries. These industrial complexes are the heart of Sarnia's infrastructure and economy. They directly employ nearly 8,000 and contribute to almost 45,000 additional jobs in the area. In 1971, the Canadian government deemed this area so important to the economic development of the country that it printed an image of a Sarnia oil refinery on the reverse of the Canadian $10 note. The huge industrial area is the cause of significant air and water pollution. The Canada-wide daily standard for airborne particulate matter and ozone pollution, Regulation 2 PM.5, is 30 micrograms per cubic meter. 45% of this particulate air pollution in Sarnia comes from Chemical Valley, and the rest drifts over the St.Clair River from the neighboring United States in the form of what is known as transboundary air pollution. Sarnia is the location of Enbridge's Sarnia photovoltaic power plant. The facility went into full commercial operation in December 2009, with 20 megawatts of power. As of September 2010, the plant was the largest photovoltaic solar power generation facility in the world, putting out 97 megawatts. The 80-acre Western University Research Park, Sarnia Lambton campus was established in 2003 by the University of Western Ontario as a joint initiative with the County of Lambton and the City of Sarnia. The park is also the location of the Bioindustrial Innovation Centre, Canada's Centre for the Commercialization of Industrial Biotechnology. In 2012, BioAmber began construction of North America's first biosuccinate acid plant at the Bioindustrial Park. The company has since announced that it plans to double the original size of this $80 million plant. Solutions for CO2 was developing a 50,000 square foot demonstration facility at the Blue Water Energy Park. This company captures waste gas, water streams to process into value-added co-products. Plantform Corporation, a Canadian biotech startup company producing ultra-low-cost therapeutic antibody drugs, opened an office at the Western University Research Park in 2011, and the KMX Corporation began work on a pilot plant at the park in summer 2012, for the production of biobutanol. Retail and hospitality. Sarnia has two large malls, Lambton Mall with 72 stores, and the Bayside Centre with 9 stores, and several government and medical services. These large malls combine with several smaller shopping centres, discount stores, dollar stores, convenience stores, and a collection of antique and specialty stores to form the crux of Sarnia's retail business. Travelers can choose from 8 branded and many family-owned hotels and motels. Transportation. The Blue Water Bridge links Sarnia and its neighboring village of Point Edward to the city of Port Huron in the United States. It spans the St.Clair River, which connects Lake Huron to Lake St. Clair. The bridge's original 3-lane span, opened in 1938, was twinned on the 22nd of July 1997, making the bridge the 4th busiest border crossing in Ontario. The Blue Water Bridge border crossing makes use of both the Nexus and the Free and Secure Trade Program, linking Highway 402 with the American Interstate 94 and I-69. The bridge forms part of the NAFTA Superhighway, and is one of the most important gateways on the north-south truck routes. Public transportation within the city of Sarnia, including conventional bus transit, transportation of people with disabilities, transportation support for major events, and charter services, is provided by Sarnia Transit. From the city's local airport, Sarnia Chris Hadfield Airport, Air Georgian operates services to and from Toronto Pearson International Airport on behalf of Air Canada Express. For rail travel, Sarnia is one of the 2 western termini, along with Windsor, of the Via Rail Quebec City-Windsor corridor, over which a service departs Sarnia Station in the morning and arrives in the evening. Health care. Sarnia is served by Blue Water Health, a hospital with 188 acute care beds, 70 complex continuing care beds and 27 rehabilitation beds. The hospital opened in 2010, following the amalgamation of several smaller facilities. Blue Water Health was recently recognized by Healthcare Insurance Reciprocal of Canada, one of the country's largest hospital insurers, for its continued improvement in patient safety and care quality. Culture, music, theatre, and art. Sarnia's musical and theatrical presence in southern Ontario is significant. The International Symphony Orchestra plays at the Imperial Theatre for an annual season lasting from September to April. In addition to symphonic concerts, the Imperial Theatre offers year-round dramatic productions. Michael Learn played the lead in Driving Miss Daisy at the theatre in 2010. Former Max Webster frontman Kim Mitchell has returned to his hometown on occasion to play a concert, including his visit in 2008 for Sarnia's popular Ribfest, a competition where local amateur chefs share the recipes for barbecued ribs and compete against each other. Canadian composer and music educator Raymond Murray Schaefer was born in Sarnia and developed his radical schizophrenia techniques there. Musicians and groups such as Aerosmith, Kiss, Keith Urban, John Bon Jovi and Rascal Flatts have played at Sarnia Bayfest in the past. The Sarnia Bayfest, which was preceded by the Festival by the Bay, is an annual concert festival that features big-name rock and country bands, typically during the second or third weekend of July. 2013 would have marked the 15th anniversary of the annual festival, but financial problems caused the event's cancellation. Prior to December 2013, organizers stated that it is not the end and that they planned on coming back on solid financial footing sometime in the future. As of December 2013, however, Bayfest organizers indicated they planned on merging with the International Powerboat Festival for a joint event in 2015. Besides the single museum in Sarnia proper, 6 other museums in the local area document Sarnia's history, including its legacy as the home of the North American oil industry. Gallery Lambton offers 12 annual art exhibitions. In 2012, the Judith and Norman Alex Art Gallery opened. It is an international Category A art gallery. During the Christmas season, the city of Sarnia presents the annual Celebration of Lights in Centennial Park. The event was created in 1984 by Dr. Wills Ruana and a committee funded by the retail chain Hudson's Bay and the national telecommunications company TELUS. From modest beginnings, the event has garnered numerous awards as it has grown, including second place in the 2002 Canadian government's Canada Winter Lights competition. The celebration was incorporated in its national prize-winning year and is now run by a voluntary board of directors.